family, to the Blaugrana Parisiens, episode 26. Soon, 30 episodes. 30th episode will be maybe like the week right before the Champions League final, I believe. And we're obviously joined by Barca boy. Welcome, Barca boy.
What's good? What's good? I think you're right. That the 30th episode will be the week of the Champions League final. We both might not be in it, so we will see if there's even an episode that week or not.
27, 28, 29. But yeah, on the 19th, we will have episode 30. Champions League final, I think, is 31st. So basically 2 weeks right ahead of that. So 31st will be the exact one, bar. So, Barca, PSG. The three clubs that are still in for a treble: Barca, PSG, and Inter Milan. Obviously, Atletico Madrid were there previously; they're gone. Real Madrid were there; they're gone. Liverpool, they were gone a long time ago.
We're actually the two that are in for the quadruple. I think, of course, Inter, they lost in the final of their Super Cup to AC Milan back in January. That's why they only have a treble. But you and I were on for the quadruple, which has never been done yet.
Yeah, I saw you post that. Has no one done it? Obviously, because usually the Super Cup is played at the beginning of next season, in the summer.
So the only team that could have won a quadruple so far would be English clubs, because they have the League Cup in February, and no other club could have. But when the salary deal came in for the Spanish Super Cup, the Copa Italia, the Trophy de Campeón, I think Qatar came in, not Saudi, and all those got moved into January tournament mode, a bit more competitive, gives it more meaning. So since then, I think Germany says are the only one that have like their Super Cup still in the summer. So once they move it, they can classify as a quadruple. But it is definitely a quadruple, because the Super Cup now means something, at least for Spanish clubs. I know for you only had the one game against Monaco, but for Spanish and Italian club, they play like a mini tournament essentially. Yeah, already in the middle of the season, which is always super competitive for a trophy. So it definitely means much more. So. No, but since yours is in January, though, we'll count it for you. We'll count it.
Yeah. No, because ours is still only in the summer. It just this one. It was supposed to be in China, I think. It got postponed, so we had to play in January. I remember back in 2021.
So yours is a bit fugazi too, then. So yours only a treble.
It is from next season though. They will start doing it only in the winter, and they've copied Serie A and La Liga to make it into like two semifinals and then one final as well.
I don't know if I'm going to count it for you then or not, because it's supposed to be in the summer. It's only one game, but you got lucky. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll have to wait for next year.
But you mentioned with the Premier League, with the Quadruple Cup, we actually had the same before, because we used to have a League Cup. The last edition was in 2020, I think. So when we went to the Champions League final, we were on for the quadruple that year. We'd won both cups and the thingy. But I didn't know that no club has done that before. And actually, not you guys then, but PSG, we can actually get the first septuple. You have sextuple, right? And buy-in with Flick as well, I think.
Yeah, so if you win the Club World Cup, to win that Intercontinental Cup, then you'd be the first team to win 7 trophies in one season.
Yes, sir.
But that one has never been done before, yeah.
Long season ahead, man. You agree this is the best Barca since like 2016?
For sure. This is probably the best. This is the best Barca team, I would say, probably since the second season of Luis Enrique. I think it's a bit better than that third season, because that third season we were kind of dead. A lot of heavy reliance on Messi and Neymar. Sources still getting goals, but he was getting a bit tired. That's when the downfall of Rakitic started to begin as well. So he wasn't that great. So yeah, definitely up there. But of course, it comes down to trophies won. That's what's going to be remembered the most.
So how was your season? So you won La Liga in 8. So all like the post Neymar seasons. Like you won it La Liga in 18. How many times have you won La Liga? I think Atletico won it once. Madrid won it twice since then.
So 17-18 we won it. 18-19 we won it. 19-20 was Real Madrid. 2021 was Atleti. 2021-2022 was Real Madrid. 2022-23 was Barcelona. 22-24 was Madrid. Then now we're in the season. So we went 3 seasons in a row without winning the league, and it went to Madrid, Atleti, Madrid, with that Atleti one being the one in COVID. So yeah, since then we haven't really retained the title, the league title, since the Valverde.
And UCL, this is first semi-final since 2019. And wait, in 18-19, where you were in for the treble as well, right? But you lost in UCL
We were 1 week away from it, so we were 4 days away from it. Because if we were forced to face Spurs in the final, we were going to beat them or Ajax, either one. We had the Copa del Rey final against Valencia right after Anfield, which of course we lost because the team was just cooked after Anfield. So yeah, we were closer at that point to win the treble than we are right now. So it shows that even if you're this close, it can still all fall beneath your eyes.
Okay, one important question: are Barca still unbeaten in 2025?
Well, not anymore, but still the least amount of losses in 2025, so we'll take it.
Yeah, no, because I don't count the Liverpool defeat and the Villa defeat. Irrelevant. Like they didn't change anything.
I mean, that's if you don't count them, then that means we're undefeated. Yeah, but on the record, it's 2 losses for you and then 1 for us at the end of the day. So, but it is the one game I would lose. So hopefully, we go on and win the rest.
Yep. Like, how do you feel with the Dortmund defeat?
I feel okay, I guess. Kind of sucks the record is gone. Same with the undefeated run with Szczesny in goal, but I was just happy we went through. There was a point in the game where I thought we were gonna bottle it yet again. They went 2-0. They scored early in the second half. I said, "Oh my god, we're actually gonna choke this." And then we got a lucky own goal. And since then, I didn't think it again, especially with own goal coming in, Pedro coming on the pitch. We had much more control of the game at that point, so wasn't too worried about that. But yeah, it's unfortunate. But if you told me lose that game, you win the rest, we'll take it. I love how a lot of the players after the game also said the same thing, that if we're going to lose one game from now end season, we want it to be this one. So it's that they're all in unity. So hopefully they fulfill their promise.
But you, so when you were 2-0 down, you were a bit.
Not a bit. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna. I thought for sure we were gonna choke it. I'm like, 2-0 down. They got everything was kind of going. Dortmund on the day they beat us 3-1. Fair play to them. They weren't that great. It wasn't like that. Oh, they battered us 3-1. They were the better team. All that stuff. We were, of course, we're crap, and they weren't that great either. They were misplacing passes. They had a lot of attacking transitions that they just died so easily from poor passes and interceptions from us. They were not that great. I mean, Guirassy had the, Fugazi hat trick, mistake by Arujo to get the goal, penalty, which of course was a penalty, but Koundé should have held the line to be offside, then it wouldn't have been a penalty. The corner kick was a good one too. Just a simple far post headed across, and they scored it. But definitely the Arujo and the penalty goals should have been avoided. So even then, they had a few other chances. They got into really, really good areas a lot of the time, and they just weren't taking advantage of it. Especially when they went 2-0, I think they had another chance almost to make it 3-0 instantly, and I'm like, we're gonna actually choke this. And then the own goal came. I was like, all right, we got our goal. That probably kills their hope a little bit. Pedri came on as well, which we were desperate for to have some control in the midfield. And after that, even when they scored to make it 3-1, I'm like, we're still okay.
So is there somewhat of a relief going into the semi, or just another step into winning the UCL?
Yeah, there's just relief in the fact that thank God we didn't bottle it, because I think we would have been the most embarrassing club in the history of football to bottle that after we bottled everything else in the past. Of course, Inter will be a tough game. Since we got Inter, of course, I had the two Bayern Inter. I really want to Bayern because Bayern play a bit more open. They have a lot of injuries. I think we already played them this season. With Inter, I'm like, oh, they're so good defensively and all this stuff. They've been to Champions final back, of course, in 2023. Then when you look into it more, it's like, oh, Inter are good defensively, but everything else against like the top teams haven't been that great this season. And if you look at the last time we played them in the 22-23 season, this first full season under Xavi, where we won the double, we played them twice in the group stages. And if you compare the squads are very, very similar. Inter's back 3, midfield 5 is the exact same. They have a different goalkeeper, no Onana now somewhere. Up front, it was Dzeko and Lautaro Martinez. Now it's Lautaro Martinez and Thuram. The starting 11 is basically the same at that point. Midfield 3, Chanaloglu, Mkhitaryan, Barella, Darmian, and DeMarco as your wing back. And then they had Skriniar in the defense, who's not there anymore. Of course, I think he went to you guys before he went to Fenerbahce. And if you look at the Barcelona team as well, very similar team as well. So, and again, they play the same thing. We're, of course, a different style and system. So at that time, we lost 1. and we drew one. The one that we lost was pretty fugazi. Changalong scored a banger from 40 yards. We couldn't break them down. We had a big handball shot with Ansu Fati on Dumfries that wasn't given. In the home game, 3-3 again. We had washed. We had a back line. Listen to this back line. We had Sergio Roberto right back. We had Piqué and Alonso. Piqué, Eric Garcia as your two center backs, and Alonso at left back. That was our back four against Inter. You compare that to now. So at that time, our best back line was Koundé, Christensen, Idaho, and Bolde, all out injured for both legs. So we had a very, very weak team, and we almost got over the line. So seeing that, I'm like, okay, this team now is much better. Hopefully everyone stays fit. So you feel a bit more confident. And you also look at the way they Inter beat Bayern, where Bayern, I say, of course, are not better than us, but they do play somewhat similar to us a little bit. The idea and the philosophy is the same between Company and Flick. And you see how close they got as well. You look at the goals that Inter scored. Of course, the first one at the Latano goal, world-class banger, build-up play in the finish was fantastic. Counter-attack goal, then 2 corner goals. It's not like they absolutely battered them. They also conceded 3 times as well to a pretty weak Bayern team. So all of these kind of give me a bit more confidence. But we got 2 Clásicos jammed in between these 2 games. So anything can happen, man. Anything can happen.
One thing I saw from that Bayern Inter game is like the experience in the Inter side. Do you think that could be a thing? Because since you played, they've obviously went to a Champions League final, lost in a penalty shootout versus Atletico last season, and now are into the semi.
Yeah. You talk about that time they got to the final. They had probably the easiest route to get to the final, and if we beat them in the group stages, that would have been us. So not to take away from the fact they got there. I think their run was pretty poor though. I think we discussed this once on the stream. They have experience, and so do we. Again, everyone who played at that time in 2022 are all still in the team right now. So I think the team has grown since then. Look at Koundé, Araujo, Pedri, Gabi, of course, started both games as well, even though now he's not, really a guaranteed starter anymore. Rafinha was playing both games at the time, Lewandowski as well. So I think that not only the Inter mature, but so did we as well in that process of the 2 years since the game.
So what would you say percentage? Barca Inter?
I would still put it like razor close, like 55% Barca, 45% Inter, just because I think we are the best team in the world the whole entire season. I think the second leg at San Siro, of course, does give Inter a big advantage. But hopefully, since the team now at least beat Dortmund, they can maybe cope with that second leg. As long as you win, I think as long as we win the first leg and we have an advantage going to the second leg, I'll feel pretty confident. I kind of hope we don't win. I think in this time, winning by a big margin would be very, very good, because Inter kind of play a different style where they can't really chuck everything forward without being vulnerable in the back. But nice little 2-1 win, 2-0 first leg, calm at the San Siro. I think we can do a job. I think as soon as Inter get a goal and they're in this tie, it'll be difficult, especially if they score first at the Montjuic. So I still put us as a favorite, but Inter definitely one to watch out for. The defense is fantastic. Defense that is a bit vulnerable. You can see them. They got some big games as well alongside us. They have the Coppa Italia second leg, like you mentioned. They're going for the treble. Not in the Coppa Italia final quite yet. They're still going to play the Inter game. They're in a huge neck and neck Serie A Scudetto title race as well with Napoli, which apparently could go down to the last day. They had to play like one game facing each other. The winner wins Scudetto. So the positive side is that they're in a very similar situation to us, where we're chasing everything. We got big games around the second legs as well. We have no trophies guaranteed, neither do they as well. So hopefully with the counter congestion, stuff like that, and Barcelona, I think, have a better mentality since we are a more historic team and a lot of the players are, experienced in the fact of winning. Hopefully that can give us the, extra push.
And not to, a big thing going into the game that has changed recently is obviously the Alejandro Balde and Robert Lewandowski injuries.
Yeah.
Big miss, small miss.
I mean, it's pretty big. I think I can cope with Lewandowski, but having Balde out is going to be big. Hopefully, they can really push themselves to be fit for the first leg. They definitely won't play the Copa del Rey final this weekend. I'll just get them on painkillers and play them against Inter, but they will be big misses. Of course, the drop-off between Balde and Gerard Martin is huge. The Ferran Torres and Lewandowski drop-off is not maybe massive, but is it definitely significant. But at the end of the day, you have to trust the squad. I don't think they're too crazy misses. We talked a lot about this on streams, who are the best important players for Barcelona. You think of, Pedri, Lamine, Rafinha, Kubarsi, Inigo, then maybe a Lua, then maybe a Balde. So it's not huge misses, but they're definitely big blows that hopefully we can cope with. But they would definitely be like the 5th or 6th player I would pick to be injured out of the players. So, you're talking like Pedri being injured, Lamine, I think it would be a much difficult situation. But hopefully we can cope with it. And again, we have 2 games before then, which we'll see how the 2 holes in the team do. But there definitely will be big blows for sure.
If we say you concede 3 goals, but you score 4 goals to go through, who do you think those 4 goals will be scored by?
I mean, Ferran Torres, man, he gets, he's 1 goal away from Vinicius' tally this season. He's gotten some, decent amount of goals. I can definitely see. I think it's going to be, if we score 4, I see definitely 2 of them coming from Rafa, maybe 1 from Ferran Torres, and 1 from like an unknown source, like a Pedri, maybe a Dani Olmo, a Lamine. But I think of the 4, I think definitely 2 of them have to come from Rafa, and the rest can kind of be shared about. Even if we had Lewandowski, I'd probably say the same thing as well. I expect 2 from Lewandowski, maybe 1 from Rafinha. But then there's going to be a lot of pressure on Ferran Torres to get chances, maybe even Lamine as well to score goals and not be too wasteful with his opportunities. And I get a lot of emphasis on Dani Olmo as well, playing in the 10. We're going to be relying on him, whether he plays false 9 or not. That's a different topic, but they're going to be heavily reliant on goals now with no Lua.
You mentioned Ferran before. Don't you think Dani Olmo false 9 is better?
I mean, the Dani Olmo false 9, we've only did it once this season. It's kind of hard to do it now. We're in the crunch time of the season. It's kind of hard to experiment and tinker with a different team. I just think it's like you, for example, saying, let's say Dembele's injured and you want to put, either Doué or Barcola on the right wing. You could also put, Kang Ling Yi, which, makes a bit more sense maybe to have a similar profile to Dembele. It's just really not the time to tinker. I think it's also not that great to have a false 9 against an Inter system where you need to have a striker to have the hold-up play to attract and, take the spaces away from the center backs. I think that's going to be Ferran Torres' job a lot more than just scoring goals. Roughing up the center backs, taking up space, dragging them away to make space for Rafinha and Lamine in behind. I don't think Olmo will... I think Ferran Torres will do a much better job than Olmo, and also Olmo in the 10 is just so good. So it's hard to take him out of that natural position. If you do take him out, you probably expect either Gavi or Firmino to play in the 10. I think it'll really come down to more so Ferran Torres. If Ferran Torres plays well, gets a goal here and there, I think Flick will keep him. But if he's dropping, pure utter stinkers, Flick might be forced to change into an Olmo false 9, which I wouldn't. Against Madrid, I wouldn't mind. But against Inter, I would refrain from it, just based on stylistically.
Okay. Recently, obviously, had the 4-3 victory versus Celta Vigo.
Yeah. I mean, we're rough out here, man. We're in a title race. Y'all are just chilling, 50,000 points in the clear. I wish I had your life, but I mean, yeah. I mean, shout out to the remontada again. Doing it on Madrid's head top is quite nice. Getting into the situation was again a bit unfortunate. You look at the goals we've conceded recently. A lot of them just come down to individual mistakes, especially in that game. Szczesny, Kubarski, and Frankie, all 3 of them alone, causing mistakes for Barcelona. You look at the Dortmund game, Araujo with a clear mistake, and of course Szczesny with the mistake to give away the penalty. So 5 of the last 6 goals we conceded are pure individual mistakes. But yeah, I mean, scoring 4 goals in half an hour is not easy, definitely, especially against Celta, who are a very, very good team in La Liga this season. They're kind of like for you guys like a Nice or a Lille kind of vibe, which is not easy for sure. The goals were, of course, all legitimate as well. There was no fugaziness, nothing like that, which you like to see, and inspires the team a bit more. But and again, it's a huge way to get the win because Madrid won last second as well. So if we win that game losing or drawing, it would be like a 1-point difference in La Liga, maybe even 2. So the win was absolutely huge, and to do it in that kind of fashion, of course, gives you extra incentive and belief in what's to come in the season.
One guy in the chat here mentioned that wouldn't you be like player of Madrid and Atletico if you didn't have that rough patch? And
yeah, there's a stat that came out over the weekend. Like in the first 10 match days, we only dropped 2 points. In the last 10 match days, we only dropped 2 points. But in the middle, we dropped like 18 points between like 7 games, which was, of course, in November, December. Which means that if we at least, of course, the 2 that I remember specifically are at home to Las Palmas and Leganes, 2 very poor teams fighting for relegation, which we lost both. If you win both those games, we could win. We would have probably already won La Liga by now. That's how close it is. Of course, we're coming to the end. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 games left, and you have a 9-point advantage. At that point, you go to the Clasico, you beat them, you win the league. So we would have definitely had the league wrapped up by now, or definitely at least one hand on it, and definitely would have opportunities to rotate heavily. but unfortunately we did mess it up. So the fact that we're in the leading position, of course, is very, very significant. Remember, Madrid were 10 points clear at the end of January, so I guess everyone's bottling left, right, and center.
That's true. And obviously now Madrid, they're still surviving. Obviously, yesterday with a late goal, you guys surviving, but you're still calm because you wanted this. You said at least 3 points above Madrid so that you don't have the pressure that you need to win the game.
Yeah, I really want to go. We have a Valladolid game away from home. The rock bottom of La Liga away from home. We have that game in the middle between the two interlegs, first leg, second leg. I really want to go to that game, just heavily rotate the whole entire 11. Let the B team go out there. The B team win, fucking phenomenal. If they get a draw, okay, cool. If they lose, it is what it is. So that's why I didn't want to lose that Celtic game, because Celtic game we played our strongest team. We played, I think, with one rotation, which was Ferran Torres for Lamine Yamal. So losing that game with full rotation would have been a huge, stab in the stomach. But thankfully we got the case. But again, it just gives us some room to wiggle. But then again, if you lose that Valladolid game, then you have to win Clásicos. If you win the Valladolid game, you can go into Clásico, get a draw. That'd be a big advantage for you still. You still be 4 points clear heading into the last 3 games of the season. I think it really comes down to now Madrid dropping points. If Madrid don't drop points, I think it'll come down to the wire. Even if we lose, even if we beat them in the Clásico, we'll only be 7 points ahead. One loss, you're back to square one. Especially with our, like I mentioned to you when we were analyzing the calendar, we had a very easy run these past month and a half. The final month of the season, the final 4 leagues are very, very tough. Away to Samabes, the worst away game. You have Madrid, of course, in the Clásico. Espanyol, local derby away from home. Villarreal, who are like Celta Vigo, top. They're actually in the 5th place, fighting for Champions League. So that's 4 big, difficult games. That's why winning the game tomorrow against Mallorca, this weekend against Celta, Valladolid are so important, because these are the weaker teams, or maybe you have a good team that are at home, so you have a bit of an advantage. But those 4 games are going to be so tough. And having those 4 games after the UCL semifinals, after both Clásicos in the Cup in La Liga, it'll leave both teams in a serious situation. Our last 4 games way harder than Real Madrid, so that's why it's imperative to pick up points now, and hopefully Madrid can drop points, especially we're looking at Getafe. This midweek, we're so close yesterday to having them drop points, but last second goal. So it's coming down to the wire. I think it will come down to the last 3 match days, but hopefully we can win it sooner rather than later.
And you probably watched that Madrid game. Did you feel like their season could potentially be ruined by their Champions League exit, or?
I think so. It reminds me a lot of last season when we were in the situation as well. We were still in the title race a little bit after you guys knocked us out. Then we had the League Clásico. Bellingham scored in the last second, and that's when the season officially died. Because we had some moments like that too, where we were trying to stay in the fight. We had some last second goals to stay in it. The team is not that great. I mean, I was watching the second half of the game yesterday. I'm like, I can sense Madrid winning 1-0. It's like the 90th minute. I'm like, all right, Bilbao, just defend. And Bilbao rotated their whole 11 as well. None of the Williams brothers started. I mean, they turn up against us, but they don't play against Madrid. But the fact they got the 90 minutes 0-0, I'm like, all right, I'll take a draw, 6 points clear, a little bit of a cushion. But Madrid just looked like they have so much pressure to do something. And I think that pressure hopefully will come back and bite them. Again, they don't really have too much rest. They have, of course, the rest when we're playing semifinals at the second leg, semifinal of the UCL, they don't play. But they have, of course, a game midweek, Copa del Rey final, then the league games and stuff like that. So I feel like we've reached such a far point that we won't ball it. And Madrid, of course, in the Champions League and how poor they've been this season, the pressure of Ancelotti now he's going to leave before the Club World Cup. I'm hoping that they kind of, capitulate as well.
Okay. Moving on to PSG, we obviously, so when it was 3-1, you probably saw the result in the chat on your phone or something. Did you believe we were going to bottle it?
Against Le Havre? No.
No, Villa.
Oh, I was like, when you first scored, I think it was Hakim who scored first. I said, that's wraps, and I didn't look at it. Then my chat was telling me that, it's Tielemans scored 2-1 before halftime. I'm like, all right, I mean, whatever. That's just no clean sheet, more so than PG get knocked out. Then when they scored to make it 3-2, I'm thinking, oh my god, one more goal, extra time. So I did watch the last few minutes. I had it on the side for sure, but in the end, it didn't happen. But again, we always had a 2-goal cushion against Dortmund, and then you came down to 1. So I'm like, oh my god, 1 goal last second, never know. They missed a few chances as well, so they definitely had the opportunity to do so. I thought Asensio was gonna put the dagger. That would have been crazy scenes, but didn't happen in the end.
Yeah, because we went 5-1 up, on aggregate, and so we were 4-0 up, just like you guys versus Dortmund. And like the arrogance I saw from my players, from Vitinha, from Dembele, not that much Dembele, Kvara, Barcola, Marquinhos, we just let them back into the game. But one thing I was really happy with, like they scored that 3-2, 55th minute, I think. Then we just defended and survived there for the last like 30 minutes and so on.
Yeah. Then Billy missed a few chances too. I'm like, oh my god, that Billy is missing too. I can if they win it, if Villa win it, I can go. I can mention that too, but it didn't happen. But again, both of us came very close in the end. We both had easier ties, and they were very, very close, which shows how high the level of football is. More so, I think it does for us. I mean, you have no excuse. You get freaking rested midweek. You talk to Liga and you don't get games, so it's kind of a little bit embarrassing on your part, but.
It's one game we missed.
No. But I mean, the fact that you looked a bit sluggish and stuff when you had that weekend off, still losing the game on paper. That's what I mean. And we're having games. We're still fighting for the league. You're already chilling. So if you did have a league game, it wouldn't have really mattered because you're already chilling. But I just think that for us, it's gonna be harder to complete. The quadruple.
But we've had the tougher Champions League run.
You have for sure. But all of them were in the group stage and you lost half of them. So it's like so, you would have had the greatest Champions League run ever if you beat Atleti, you beat Bayern and Arsenal in the group stage. You would have had the best. And of course, you win it. The best UCL one without it. I think the best UCL one was our treble 14-15 because we beat every single champion up until the final. And of course, in the final we had the treble battle between us and Juventus, a very good Juventus team. So I still think that's one of the best. But just comeback one was good. If we're not gonna show a bit bias, because they came back and a lot of them as well. I still rate ours because we came against top teams in each round and each champion of the respective leagues. So we faced City, Bayern, then Juventus in the final. And in the group stages, I think our group stages was easy. We had like Mbappe. We had one tough game. We had you in the group stages.
Well, Ajax, PSG, I think.
Yeah, we had you, Mbappe, Boruslav, and Ajax.
No, Apoel, I think. Apoel, Nicosia.
We had you in the group stages in the 14-15 season,
Yeah,
no?
Us, Ajax, and Apoel.
Oh, Apoel, okay. But, yeah, that you would have had it same. But since you lost half of them, it kind of takes it away.
True.
You could say that, we had the most difficult run ever, but...
Yeah, like UEFA threw everything at us.
No, you were celebrating the day. Go back and roll the clip. You were celebrating the draw. So don't be using it now as
celebrating the draw. Oh, the draw. Yeah. I was like, yeah, UEFA test us.
Yeah. So
we're still there.
But yeah, man, you guys have it so easy in Liga, man. You're just chilling. You get like no games.
We make it look easy.
Listen. Of course, you going unbeaten is going to be a big feat. I'm not taking that away. But at the end of the day, 9.9 times out of 10, you're going to win Liga, right? Even if you had, a very mid team.
No, look, I do agree that just winning Liga for me isn't, a huge accomplishment because we've done it so many times, and the disparity between us and the competing teams is. But it's just how well we've been this season. Yeah, I think that's what people don't like. Yes, Marseille and so on are like 10 points behind us, but
my point is that if you look at the 3 times where you got really close to winning the Champions League, right? Last season, in COVID, you already had all 3 trophies wrapped up. So that would have been the UCL is always the icing on the cake. Every time you get to that point where you're almost about to win the UCL, you have everything in Liga already wrapped up. Look at us as well in terms of games played. Of course, we all play the same amount of games each season. Actually, you play less because you have 2 less teams in your league. But we're playing. You have to look at the times that we're playing games as well. We played 9 p.m. on a Wednesday, then 9 p.m. on a Saturday. It's like little to no turnover. You get the whole weekend off. La Liga forces us to play at the worst possible time. Even they give us a little bit of an early kickoff so that at least the players can go to bed at a significant time. It would help. They don't even do that. So it's just stuff like that that's really frustrating. Like even. We play, of course, against Celta on Saturday. We, of course, now play on Tuesday. A lot of my friends and people in Barca group chats they were actually in shock, like, oh my god, we play on Tuesday. When's it gonna stop? Like they were actually at a point now where, of course, I already know the schedule because I'm locked in. But some of the players were kind of a bit more my casual friends that, like, of course, love and support Barca, but they kind of just don't follow it as much as maybe I do. They were shocked that we have this many games coming up. And again, his schedule is a bit annoying, and they want to get as much money as they want for the game. And of course, the coaches have to rotate as well. But just having so many games back to back to back back, and again, we're having the bare minimum of rest. Saturday, Tuesday, you're talking 4 to 8 hours of the minimum rest. You play Saturday morning, Tuesday evening, which again is not too bad. But if we play for example Saturday night and then Tuesday night, that's a 50-hour turnover. So having that consistently, while you guys, you get the luckiness of, Liga.
No, that happened once, and we played on Saturday. We're gonna play on Tuesday now, and then we're gonna play on Friday. So
even happened once. That's one more than everyone else. That's my point. And then you have that kind of. I think even last season as well, when you played us, you had a few games postponed. So my point is that you have the fact that the league. The league says, what, we respect that PSG are in the Champions League. They're going to do good for the league. Let's help them out a little bit. Not too much, right? They postponed one game. Maybe they won't postpone more. But for us in La Liga, they said, oh, yes, you're doing La Liga well, but here are 5,000 more games that you have to play in between while you fight for this competition, and we're not going to help you. Even Flick was saying that, if we do well, of course, the reason why we have 5 spots in the Champions League next season is because we went far in the Champions League. Of course, Athletic Club went far in the Europa League. So instead of rewarding us a little bit, even just giving our kickoff time a bit earlier, they're still making us, do 50-hour turnovers, latest kickoff time, latest possible time days as well. That's the frustrating part. I'm not saying that, you have leniency, you're smoking a cigar every weekend with Champions League football. Of course not, but you still have a little bit of, leniency is my point.
Yeah, but even that game, it wasn't like PSG said, oh, we don't want to play. It was illegal to play. Because the Champions League, Liga had scheduled that day to play versus Nantes on Sunday. And then the Champions League scheduled us to play versus Villa on Tuesday.
Yeah,
it's illegal to play on Sunday.
This is exactly my point. So what happened? We had the exact situation, right? So what did Ligue do for you in that situation? They postponed the game, correct?
Okay.
Right?
When have you played?
Yeah. So
one day in between.
So the two interlegs. Remember how we had a Valladolid game?
Yeah.
That Valladolid game was supposed to be on Sunday, Sunday, May the 5th. And on that day, we would have played Tuesday against Inter in the second leg at the San Siro. So Liga, instead of what did Liga do in that situation? They postponed the game. You'll play it later. Lock in for UCL. La Liga said, "Oh, you guys can just play on Saturday instead." So now we play Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday.
Okay.
That's my point, right?
I don't know. I haven't read it, but I do think they tried to schedule it for Saturday, but for some reason it didn't work. But no, I do. We all know that La Liga are not as.
But even didn't you, when you had the Liverpool tie, when you had the Liverpool game, you had the Nantes game in the middle, right? You tried to get that postponed, and I think both teams said yes, and then Ligue 1 said no in the end, right?
Stade de Rennes in between.
You remember?
Maybe.
I remember you mentioned that. Oh, we asked Ligue 1 to postpone it. You agreed, and the opponent said sure, and then Ligue 1 said no. There's a game in between. I think the Liverpool. I think it was Nantes.
Could be.
So my point is that you guys have that chance, right? There is a possibility. The teams both agreed. All you're waiting is for final approval. The final approval, I think, is 50-50. Sometimes it comes, it doesn't. But for Barcelona, there is a 0% chance. Never, ever happened. Will never happen in a million years. The fact that you already got it once is what my point is. What the point is I'm trying to make.
I know, but I don't think our league is like that helpful. I just think our league is normal, and your league is like corrupt. It's your league that is like extra negative.
Exactly. So your league is competent. Yeah. So your league is competent, right? So sometimes they'll help each other, they're not, but they're still very strict. Ours is just corrupt at the highest level. They pray for our downfall. That's my point.
So when you win La Liga, you
laugh because it's true.
When you win La Liga, you win La Liga versus Madrid, Atletico, and the league.
Yeah, you beat when. That's why when we win La Liga, that's why a lot of the Barca fans and Barca media and like local fans, they value La Liga a lot, especially sometimes more so than Champions League. Not only you face the teams, you face the institution, you face the corruption, you face the referees. Everything in Spain goes against you. So that's why this league title might be the best league title we've ever won, in my eyes, in my opinion, in my lifetime. For what we've seen from the Negreira case, the registration. Don't forget, we've been fighting with the president of La Liga to register 2 players for about 4 months now. We've done about 5,000 court cases. He's appealed. We've won every single one. He's appealed about 8,000 times. This is the shit that we're going up against in the middle of going for a treble. It's crazy, man. It's so hard. It's so sad to see that we get absolutely nothing in our favor. At least respect how big your club is and how important it is for you guys to do well in the Champions League. Where sometimes maybe 2 times out of 10 they might be helpful, they might be lenient. You have that chance. For us, it's like negative 20 out of 10.
All right. Okay. But yeah, going back to I still think it's impressive. For example, this season we have had 2.7 points per game, which is we've nearly won every single game. I don't even know if any team, maybe some teams have come close to that, or maybe have same number. It just, yes, we have won the league every single season, pretty much. Yes, we do win it. We are the best team, but this season we have been like absolutely insane in the league. Like we haven't lost, which not many teams have done, even with any budget, any league, even like farmers leagues and so on. So I would just wish people would, put more respect on Paris Saint-Germain, what they've done in the league. But I do understand. I mean, look,
I'm not taking it.
Tell Porta to come to Liga, man. Tell Catalonia to take their independence. Join us, man. There's no corruption.
I'm not taking away from what you've done, of course. I'm just saying that the situation compared to Barcelona, I think Barcelona is in a harder situation. That's the point I'm trying to make. We play El Clásicos. You have Le Classique. It's definitely harder for us. We're facing a Super Galacticos team. You're facing one of the best Marseilles team in the past few years, especially under Zerbi. So it's just, my point is that both leagues are of course hard, but we have a little bit extra harder because of the teams that we face and also the institution
100%.
that we're coming up against as well. So it does make it way, way harder. I think if Barcelona were in Liga, let's say like for example we're in your place instead of you, like you're not in Liga at all, we probably would have had, since the situation where we had the league wrapped up by now, maybe not undefeated or not. I cannot say that for sure, but not having to worry about it, just playing the kids. Because that's what you can basically do that. Again, if you want to fight, imagine if you had a loss, right? You'd be able to do it between the Arsenal legs, just full rotation. You wouldn't care. Of course, now there's a little bit of emphasis to try and go unbeaten, so you might play a little bit of a stronger team. But imagine if you already lost a game at this point, you just full rotate 11, and you don't even have to get Liga to postpone your game.
The issue is though, like in the past, I would say 3 seasons, we haven't been this comfortable in the league. Like the league has still, like when Messi was at PSG, for example, I think we won the league by like 3 points. So we hadn't wrapped it up by now. But I think that's also why we've been so good in the UCL, because we were really good in the league in the beginning, in the middle. So we don't have to worry about it now. Would you say when La Liga was easy for Barca, would you say like the UCL felt easier? So when like in 17-18 and 18-19, I think you won by like 15 points.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when we 18-19, not so much because we had to go down to the wire a little bit with Atleti, but 17-18 where we almost went undefeated. We had like 19-point lead against Madrid for sure. We went a lot of the time. We rotated quite heavily in between Champions League games, and we ended up winning a lot of the time because the quality of the team was okay. The system really suited a lot of the players, and also I would say the league was quite weak at that time. But now it's a more difficult affair. Again, the only competition like back in the day was just Real Madrid and Atleti. You had, of course, these kind of bogey teams like Villarreal, with us having the curse at the Anoeta and stuff like that. The always look forward to, but like 6 times out of 10, you get the job done. Like when I was growing up watching Barcelona, we'd lose maybe 4 or 5 games max a season. Over the past 5 years, I've seen us lose like 20 games a season. Times have changed, so. I definitely agree with your point.
Okay, moving into the PSG Arsenal. Who you got?
I don't know, man. I've been thinking about that. I knew you're gonna ask me this question.
Playing the final as well.
I know. I was thinking about this because I knew you were gonna ask it. I don't know, man, because I hate Arsenal. Don't really like PSG that much. I think facing Arsenal would be definitely an easier final. But if we're not in the final, I'd much rather have you in the final. Um, I, I'd rather have Arsenal in the final. I think it would be an easier final if we have Arsenal. The storyline of having PSG in the final is just too much for me. Although it's not as much as El Clasico, I'll take it. But it is going to be a crazy game. And again, it would be the two best teams this season facing up. I think who I think will win. I think again it's going to come down a lot to that first leg. I think Arsenal needed like an emphatic win in that first leg to take back to the back. But then we saw last season that you did well away from home, then lost at the back. So it's a situation where I think it comes down to fine margins. Of course, now Arsenal are doing their thing in the Premier League where they're rotating, just focusing on Champions League football. You probably will start doing the same as well. That's why we don't know if we're going to unbeaten or not. I think, honestly, it comes down for me. I don't want to put pressure on him per se. I don't think he cares about me, but I think it really comes down to the boost. If the boost performs, does what he has to do, scores the chances he creates, I think PSG wipe the floor with Arsenal. But if he's a bit fugazi, misses his chances, like we saw in the Aston Villa game in the second half, you give Arsenal too many opportunities to be in it. We have to remember that, they got 3 goals against Madrid in that first leg. 2 of them were set piece, and Madrid are not that great this season. Of course, PSG are doing very well this season. The defense has been a bit, questionable in the Champions League. It's conceding against Liverpool, conceding, 4 goals against Villa. So there is vulnerabilities there. Of course, they have the best fullbacks in the world. They have a fantastic midfield, a strong center-back partnership. But I've been hearing you a lot going in on Marquinhos recently as well, saying that he's cooked. Yes, this is his last season at PSG, so we don't know that Pacho is kind of the better defender over the course of the season. I think it comes down to really the boost, because I think that Arsenal will have a solid defense. Of course, I think up front they always always create 5-6 chances per game. They probably score about half of them on average, anyways. They don't really have a killer up front, someone they rely upon. But I think that PSG are heavily reliant on Dembele's output in the final third, so his GA. So if the GA is up for them boost, I think PSG will get over the line. But if he's having not stinker, but not having an effective game, it gives Arsenal an opportunity. But for me, I think this leg will be decided. I think this tie will be decided in the first leg.
Okay, so you can see us trash Arsenal.
I see you getting it. I can see you getting a 2-0 win, kind of revenge from the first game this season. But I do think if Arsenal win the first leg, I think they will. I think they go on to win it. I just see it. I see it so hard for a team to break them down when they come in with a defensive mindset. That's just how.
Do you think they will defend at their home stadium?
I don't know. I think you should go for it. I think even like a draw or anything would be good for you, just not losing. But if you lose by a goal or 2, and Arsenal just have to go back and just defend a lead, they've already done it against Real Madrid, which I didn't think they would do. I think it would give them a lot more motivation, a lot more belief in themselves as well. And I think it would be a harder task for PSG. Of course, PSG, we saw they had both legs away, Anfield and Villa Park. So when you have the roles reversed, it does change a bit of the dynamic. But as long as you don't lose the first leg, I think you'll be fine. I think Arsenal, maybe if you lose the first leg by more than 1 goal, you should be fine. But I think it comes down to the Boost's output.
So you're saying Madrid lost that tie because they lost too much. They got killed in the first game. 3-0 was just too much to come back against. And that's
I think also Madrid are
how they want to play.
Exactly, and also Madrid are crap as well. I think I don't think Arsenal played better than Madrid in the first leg. I just think they scored 2 world-class free kicks. And then Mikel Merino goal was a great goal as well. And Madrid were so poor. Look at Madrid in that first half. Look at the chance Mbappe missed. Look at the chance that Vinicius missed. That's my point right there. If Dembele, Barcola, Cavani, and Doué have those chances they missed, and then Arsenal go on to win the game 2-0, that's where I see, okay, Arsenal are going to just get locked down second half. It's going to be hard for them to concede goals. If you keep the game even, you score a goal. I think if you just score a goal at the Emirates, you should be fine over 2 legs, especially.
How do you think White will be prime Roberto Carlos again?
No. Remember when Arsenal began the season, they were scoring a lot of corner kicks?
Yeah.
They were called set piece FC. See how that died down because everyone kind of locks onto it a bit more. They score less. Same thing. When you have high expectations for a player, only Messi can really reach those expectations. When Messi started scoring free kicks, I'm thinking every free kick is basically a penalty, and he kept on delivering. But I don't think Declan Rice. I would love to put a bet right now that Declan Rice does not score another free kick in his career. I think that'd be a great bet.
Career.
Yeah, because again, the expectation is just so high. Like, oh,
Not even a
you're gonna get,
fugazi, switch down, deflection.
maybe the deflection, but like an actual like over the wall, around the wall, top corner, I don't think will
Okay.
happen again. Yeah. So, how do you feel it going into it? I know you want the revenge, especially after the stuff that you went through in in the first game in October.
No, I'm actually very happy for this game because they beat Madrid. So like Arsenal have a lot of, especially Premier League PR. Like Premier League fans have been glazing this victory, 5-1. And Prem fans, they always deride Madrid. They see Madrid as this. They always say, "Oh, Madrid, the biggest club in the world. Madrid, the biggest club in." They love to say that all the time. So I think they value what Arsenal did so much that I think most Premier League fans, even though they've been deriding PSG, like after beating City, beating Liverpool, beating Villa, I still think most of them would say that Arsenal are favorites going into this game. So I think both of us are actually underdogs, at least according to Opta now. Like it's Arsenal first, Inter second, I think us third and you fourth or something, just because of the
Yeah,
recency bias.
yeah, that's a lot of just recency bias. I think Barca and PSG are definitely the favorites. But Arsenal, I think there's a better chance that you beat Arsenal than we beat Inter. I think Inter are so well organized; they have a defense and they have an attack. Whereas Arsenal, they rely a lot on their defense and they just hope their attack comes into fruition. Even look at the goals they scored against the 5 goals they scored against Madrid. Only one of them was actually like a good goal. That was the Saka first one. They worked it well, slipped in, passed by Mourinho, chipped by Saka, beautiful goal. Martinelli counter attack. Actually, and the Mikel Merino goal as well. Then you have 2 Declan Rice world-class free kicks. So I think it really comes down to PSG having a good attacking threat in the first leg of the Embers to scare Arsenal, to cause them trouble, to make them worry, to realize, okay, this attack is serious. Doué being one of the best talents in the world, then Dembele being pushing for Balon d'Or, Cavada coming from Napoli and proving himself as well. All these narratives have to fit for PSG.
So percentage-wise, what would you say?
I'd probably say like Barcelona. I'd probably say 51% PSG, 49% Arsenal. And this is like we said, a lot of people are saying this as well. This is probably the closest Champions League final we've seen since the 14-15 season when we won the treble. There hasn't been really this close of a semifinal ever.
True.
Like I just edge it both to Barca and PSG for consistency this season. I think Barcelona from September and PSG since December and January. We've been consistently the best 2 teams in the world. Whereas Arsenal and Inter rely heavily on the defense and also rely heavily a lot on their opponents having off days. So that's how I kind of see it.
Okay, who is likely to reach the final out of us 2? So who has a higher likelihood to go through versus their opponent?
I would say you, because you have the second leg at the back and you also have no double Clasico around your first and second leg. I just think for calendar wise, you have it a bit. You definitely have a better chance, and having the second leg at home as well. So
you think that's a big thing? Because actually, if you look at PSG, Lucho, the park has been like even worse than Mandzukic, I think, in the UCL recently, man. It's been terrible.
For sure. Yeah. I'm not emphasizing it, the crazy form, but, being the second best team in the world, the fans believing in the system, the players, and the manager. We haven't seen this for PSG. Of course, they were good last season, but they didn't have this big belief. A lot of, the spotlight was on Kylian, whether he deserved it or not. We all, both know he didn't deserve it. But now it's kind of, we believe in this team. Last season was just like, Kylian carried this team to glory. Now it's, okay, team, lead us to glory. So I think also the schedule, we're having a double Clasico in the league and the cup before and after, chasing other trophies as well, where you have, quite comfortable. You just raise your focus on the CL. I think even that has more of an emphasis than you having second leg at the back.
We have cheeky Strasbourg in between away, which could be a tough game.
I need Strasbourg to end the unbeaten run.
That could be a tough game because I think it mostly depends on the first leg. Like if we get a bad result and we have to come back in the second leg, then I don't know about that Strasbourg game. Maybe we play good to get confidence into the game. So I don't know, but I know.
What would you do?
What do you
So let's
mean?
say, for example, let's say you lose the first leg 2-0 against Arsenal. Would you heavily just rotate the whole entire 11 against
2-0?
Strasbourg? Let's just hypothetically, right? Let's say
No,
hypothetically you
that
have to
would
go.
just be terrible.
Let me land. Let's say hypothetically you have to go into that Strasbourg game to rotate your whole 11 to be fresh for the second leg. Maybe the first leg was 1-1 or you lose by 1 goal, but let's say you're coming in with needing a big performance in the second leg. Would you risk the unbeaten run, or would you?
I would do
still
like a
play for the
half.
Half
So I would do
okay.
rotations, just not enough, just not too much, and
Okay.
have all the best players on the bench if we really need them, because undefeated is still important, whether we win the UCL or not. Like we fought for it now. Let's get
So
it.
you say this is, for example, you'd rest both full backs, Vitinha, Dembus, maybe Cavada as
Yeah,
well.
like
Front
yeah,
three
like
of Gonzalo Ramos, Doué,
like
Barcola.
one of the Belek Farah rested, one of Hakim and Nuno rested, one of Marky, and then midfield. Like we have a youngster. I don't know if you know him, Mayulu, Sene Mayulu. He's
Mayulu.
been like
Yeah,
popping
he
up
scored
this
again.
season.
He scored recently, right?
No, he got an assist in the recent game, in the Le Havre
Okay.
game. But no, he's someone I'm comfortable in stepping up. No, but going back to Arsenal, one thing I hate after these times is just how people forget, like they don't have an overall perspective of a team. So most people, maybe they don't have an opinion about Arsenal. They see 5-1 and they're like, "Oh my god, this is Declan Rice, one of the best midfielders in the world. Bukayo Saka,
Yeah,
this, Bukayo
I saw him
Saka,
in the new
that."
graphic. I saw him in the new graphic getting in the top 5. I said, what the fuck?
Wait, yeah, midfielder top 5 or Ballon d'Or top 5?
Like Balon d'Or top 5.
Nah, it's
Yeah.
disgusting.
David Orsi said that. David Orsi came out saying that. If Declan Rice, if Arsenal beat PSG, Declan Rice will be one of the favorites to win the Ballon d'Or, which is just his opinion. Obviously, it's not factual. But Sosa Fugazi, I don't know how Salah is still a top 5 as well.
Wait, are you sure about that?
About what?
He did say it. Wow. The
Yeah.
David Ornstein thing.
I thought I was gonna lie to you, man. Come on now. Yeah.
No.
Think you're
It's
not
just
allowed to lie
that
to you, man?
it's just that I saw a tweet like that, and then like it said David Orn, like it was like a
Oh, a fake
parody.
one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god, that's disgusting, man. Yeah, because like the English PR.
Yeah.
No.
English
most
PR
people
and
was-
Madrid PR are the two. Yo.
No, it lagged out. What did you say? English PR, Madrid PR?
I said English PR and Madrid PR are the two most undefeated PRs that nothing can stop if the team goes on a win. Those are the
You got to
two
give
that are
shout
just
out to
undefeated
Barca
no matter
PR
what.
as well. You got to give shout out to Barca PR. Or like
No,
Spanish La
but
Masia
Barca only
PR.
have PR when we perform well. So if we're cooking us out, the PR will be great. But no, but that only comes into fruition if we play well. If we, let's say, for example, last season we had no PR. Lamine had some, flowers, but Lamine didn't get his PR till the Euros.
True.
We only had the PR. Of course, our PR is crazy when we
Barca
play
had
well. But
insane
right
PR.
now we have top
Barca
3.
after that Napoli game, it was like insane after that game.
I mean, yeah, because he came in for the first time in a month. He only been in the team for a month, and he came in and he pocketed, Osimhen, Cavada, who was the right way there? Politano, I think it was. He came and dropped the masterclass against a very good team in the Champions League out of nowhere. So that's why he had the bit of a juice. But yeah, for sure, especially at that time as well when we had Christensen out injured. Kunde had to go to right back. Baldy injured as well. We had nobody, and it was down to him. And of course, he got the trust ahead of Micalfe, who I think now is playing in Liga, and he dropped an absolute 10 out of 10 performance in that game.
Okay. So how would you rank it? I definitely have Madrid PR highest. then would you say Prem PR or Barca PR? Would you say Prem PR
I would
and then Barca
I would
PR?
I would say number one is Madrid PR. Second is English PR. Third is
Ooh.
Prem PR. Fourth is probably Barca PR.
How do you feel about PSG's PR? We've had the cheeky PR glazing from our
I
Champions
mean,
League season.
you just because you know why? Because you face Liverpool, you face Premier League teams back to back, so everyone's a little bit familiar. That's why. But unless like if you look at PR over the past few years, like Mbappe being in the Balon d'Or race, that's mainly due to what he did with France, with the World Cup and stuff like that. Neymar, did Neymar even touch top 5 when he was at PSG? Maybe once. I don't think he did. I remember him finishing like 7th and 5th a lot, mainly due to his injuries. But
I think his first season, like coming off still with Barca PR, maybe he was high. What was that, 2017, 2018 or
16, 17 season.
No, so 2017 Balon d'Or, he was still a Barca player. Okay, he came third that year, but it doesn't count because like if it's off what he did with Barca.
Yeah.
And in 2018 he came 12th.
Yeah, so
2019.
I think PSG just have normal PR. When they play well and they perform, they get their flowers.
No, but there's one guy like for a period like Barcola had insane PR, but the guy at the moment that has the most PR from PSG is easily do it.
Yeah,
like, it's too much. It's too much.
It's
He's
super
Ferdinand
techy.
glazing.
Like, oh my god, you know, do it.
Because people love that type of play. Same reason why Lamine gets a lot of PR. People love the techie players who do flicks and nutmegs, and they have comps all over the place on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. So you see it all the time. So these techie players, even like Neymar, despite Neymar, finishing 12th in Balon d'Or, people still see him as like the second best player of our generation. A lot of people rate him higher than Ronaldo in terms of quality because of his techers, because of what he does on the ball. Is only a few people in the world have that ability. And same thing with Doué, same thing with Lamine as well. So all these techie players already have good, PR just about their team doing well and their team as well having the juice. So that's what I mean. It comes down to.
And no, GM3, I don't think Doué is mid, but I do agree he's overrated for sure. For example, even when I tweet about it, when I say Neymar, the only thing I mean is that he looks like Neymar aesthetically. Is he the new Neymar? No. But I saw Ferdinand say, oh, he's the region of Neymar. Like, Neymar is so much better. Neymar at his age and close to his age was so much better.
That comes down to...
He looked like him.
Ferdinand saying that comes down to English PR. He's so... English, fans, they're so stupid. They don't see anything outside the Premier League. He probably says that Neymar stuff because he sees it a lot online. He sees probably, other, PG fan accounts saying comparisons to Neymar. Probably sees other people saying it as well and just hops on the bandwagon. I don't think he actually thinks that. I think he just says that because everyone else is saying that. So
it could be that. It could be that.
Yeah, all these English pundits, the only English
Neymar celebrations. He wants to actually be Neymar. Like he's forcing it even more than Yamal.
He's helping it out a little bit too. The only English pundit that has good ball knowledge is Jamie Carragher. The rest are absolutely clueless. Neville, Michael Richards, Ian Wright, Ferdinand, Owen Hargreaves. All straight
worldwide, yeah.
All
Apart
straight
from when he
dumbasses.
talks about Liverpool, then it's disgusting. Like it's Van Dijk, best centre back of all time, Trent. But football wise, like I would say Madrid fans hate him though, because he talks shit about
because he's smart. That's why. Everyone else, they're just dumbasses, man. Some of the times I cannot believe they're up there. I know they're up there because they're former good players and they should be up there for that. But I watch them half the time thinking, my God, what the hell am I seeing? Especially stuff from like Gary Neville and Roy Keane. Of course, he's not English, but he has decent ball knowledge. But Richards is up there for vibes. He's just a funny guy. His ball knowledge is terrible. Of course, TT has immense ball knowledge. He's got crazy juice. But yeah,
he wants to sound so smart, man.
Who TT? No, TT's got knowledge, man. Don't hate my boy.
Now, wait, what were we talking about? You actually got a question here. It's crazy that Billy got no PR, but it's most techie play. Explain why. I would say, as you mentioned, it's not just techie, it's also them being extremely young, because then, they're very brave and very confident, so they try these stuff. When Dembele was young, Like he obviously had that underrated season at Stade de Rennes, then he had that season at Dortmund. Back then, Dembele had great PR. I remember Dembele and Mbappe comparisons back then. It's just now he's older, he plays more mature. It's more about straight impact, getting goals for the team, having a leadership role. It's like the young players. It's like Barcola. I remember he had some like PR like this last season. So we just, yeah, I think that's why. And you mentioned before the Marquinhos, hey, Barca boy. I want to show you this. And you let me know how you would feel if your captain in his prime did this. Oh my.
Gotta get those ads out of the way, man.
It's something I'm missing. Oh my days. What do I even click?
Before you get into, remember how I was talking about, via the lid and stuff, the game's not being postponed? Barcelona just submitted an appeal 2 hours ago to have the game played earlier at any point. So the game's at 9 p.m. They said they want to have it earlier, 6 p.m., 2 p.m., 10 a.m., just any earlier time. 1 hour later, La Liga said no. So again, we have no problem with the day. We just wanted to play even 1 hour. What we asked for 2 hours earlier, just so the players can sleep, and they said no. So
the boss, man. It's him, man. No. I just. Okay. We have to watch it now.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Look at Marky here.
PK did the same thing against Inter.
With the hands?
Yeah, with the hand. He said, leave it. It goes in. So
here he just goes it, and then he tries to backheel it and gives a huge chance to Tielemans. And Donna has to fucking. No. That's the thing. Yeah.
Do you know the Lorenz trophies, like that one that gives to high level athletes?
Is that Bellingham one last year?
Yeah. Guess who just won it right now?
Vinny.
Lamine. Yamal.
Wait. It gotta be young one.
It's for breakout star of the year. In all sports, though.
Okay,
in all sports, though. My goat. That'll help.
No, I thought it was the actual, because I think Bellingham also got the young one last season. So that's like, if you get the Golden Boy and the Copa Trophy, that one is the third one to get, like, to legitimize you.
Yeah, the best player, best athlete in the world for Lewin only been won twice by a footballer, both by Messi. So it's very, very hard to win it as like the best athlete in the world. But breakout star, we'll take it.
And by the way, someone wrote to me in the comments that the Copa Trophy can be won by the same player more than once. I always thought, like, I know the Golden Boy, you can only win it once. So if you win it, you can't participate anymore. But it's not like that for the Copa. Like, Pedri won it, and then I saw he came third in another year.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't know that?
No. I thought both of them were like the Golden Boy. You can only win it once.
No, you can win the Copa multiple times. But the Copa, they do have an extra emphasis on giving it to someone new. That's why, with Due and Kubarsi, they probably one of them will win this, since they have really good season. They won't give it to Lamine again. Even Lamine is probably the best in that category.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking he's gonna win it. Then that's the first thing I thought when I read that. And then it's all about the Golden Boy.
That would be crazy, but I think they like to share it a little bit. Even the year when Pedri won it, when he got third, he probably should have won it that year as well. Who won it at the time? Was it Gavi?
Gavi, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the one. I think the voters do have maybe a little bit of extra emphasis on giving it to someone different.
Yeah, they should just change the rules, like, to make it just part of the rules, make it easier. And Golden Boy, Barca boy. I know that you think Kubarsi is higher than Due. By how much? How much more does Due need to do to exceed him, in your opinion?
I mean, just win the Champions. Like I told you in the last show, I think it comes down to whoever wins the Champions League. I think it's pretty close. I still think Kubarsi should win it for what he's done at Barcelona. Being a starter week in, week out from August until now, and performing at the highest level. Of course, it's harder for a center back defender to win it because, again, like we mentioned, everyone likes the techie player, nutmegs and flicks and all this stuff. And of course, he's a fantastic talent as well. But I think it will come down to who wins the Champions League. Again, Kubarsi has kind of been the heavy favorite for a long time. Just now in February, when Dewey started to perform, he's kind of had a conversation to be had. I thought Kubarsi was a clean sweep. I thought it was going to be easy riding, no matter what. If we lose the Champions League, he'll win it. But Dewey does bring the competition to it. So
yeah, that's what I thought too. I remember maybe November, December. I was like, yeah, Kubarsi is the only one like in contention. Like his toughest competitor at that point was like Dean Huysen or something.
Not even that. Probably I think like Arda Güler and Endrick again, something like that.
And I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans trying to push this Lewis Skelly dude. What do you think of that?
He can come like top 5. He's good. He ain't gonna win it, but he can come top 5.
So you think like the only player that can win it over Kubarsi is Due? If not like some,
I think we both get
insane kid that cooks in the Club World Cup or something.
No, I think if we both get eliminated in the Champions League, Kubarsi will win it.
Do you think it's tied with the Balon d'Or? So like it's a Rafinha Kubarsi or like a Dembouz Due? A double?
No, I think there's definitely a high chance that Due can win it. Even without Dembele being pushed for the Ballon d'Or. But it would be nice to clean sweep, Ballon d'Or, Golden Boy, best club, and then best goalkeeper. I don't think anyone's done like a clean sweep in the award ceremony in quite some time. I think last time was probably in Barcelona when we had the 3 La Masia graduates on the stands. And you know what? If we have Lamine, Pedri, Rafa top 3, oh my god. Talk about PR. That's what our PR was. It's gonna skyrocket. I think if we have top 3 of like Lamine, Pedri, and Rafa, that would guarantee Kubarsi Golden Boy as well.
It would.
Yeah.
I hope. Well, I mean, we can stop that from happening. So I only have to talk to my players.
You can, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
To quickly then summarize, until the next episode we have next Monday, obviously on Barca Boys YouTube channel, FC Barcelona will be playing Mallorca. Copa del Rey final on Saturday, baby. So
I'm scared, man. I'm scared.
Yeah, because Madrid are really hungry. You guys see that? This is an unfortunate game to have in the La Liga title race and in the UCL. Madrid see that game as,
They see that game as stopping us from winning the treble again. Think about this. Think about this for a second. We've won 5 UCLs. Every time we won the UCL, we also won the league. We've never not won the UCL without winning the league. If we win the treble this season, make it 6 Champions Leagues, right? 3 of our 6 Champions League wins would come with trebles. You know how fucking insane that is? To say that half of our Champions League we won with trebles. They want to stop that. I saw, the Madrid fan, Faisal, from the UK. He said that the most embarrassing thing for Madrid in their history would be for Barcelona to win 3 trebles before they win 1. So that's their kind of motivation going forward. But I was in this position the past few years where we've been a level under Madrid, and we're trying to stop them from winning trebles. We had to rely a lot on Atletico to help us in clutch games in the Copa del Rey. When we were in situations to stop them, we always failed because we were always the worser team, the lesser team. We're relying on if this goes well, Xavi sets up the team like this, and Ancelotti maybe overthinks it, we can do it. Remember when we won 4-0 against Madrid when Xavi's first season when he came in? We won that game for 2 reasons. One, we played very well, but secondly, Ancelotti set up Madrid so badly. Remember, Benzema was injured for that game, so instead of going to the natural system, they changed into something different. They went with 4 midfielders, Vinicius as a lone striker, something stupid like that, and we absolutely cooked them. But we cooked them, I think, a lot to do with our talent and our ability and the way we played, and the other half with how crap Ancelotti set them up. So they're coming to this game the same kind of perspective as us. Oh, Barcelona are better than us, but Balde and Lua are injured. Hopefully we have motivation. Vinicius has to do it 10 times more, and Mbappe is going to be hungry. So they're relying a lot more than just 90 minutes on the pitch. But it's El Clasico, man. Anything can happen. I've seen 2 Copa del Rey finals, Clasico Copa del Rey finals in my life. We lost both of them. So I don't know, man. I am very, very nervous. So we'll see. People saying in the chat that we won the sextuple in 2009. Sextuple and treble is, same thing, man. Like, I'm talking about we won the treble. I know we won the sex2, we won more. You look at the 2015, 14, 15, we won 5. What's the 5 called? Hextuple? I mean, we're talking about the 3 trophies that you compete for during the season. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
And this guy's been commenting like he's a Premier League fan. He says, "Can you answer this? If all 3 European trophies are won by London teams in the same season, so Arsenal, UCL, Chelsea, Conference, and Spurs, Europa League, admit how amazing that is." I mean, it's a good side for the Premier League, obviously, but I don't put any value into winning the Conference League or the Europa League. So if Arsenal win the UCL, that's a huge accomplishment for Arsenal. But nobody
But
cares
I would
about
say on the flip side, what if Barcelona win the Champions League, Athletic Club win the Europa League, and then Betis win the Conference League? Because don't forget, these 3 teams have already done it before. Look at how many Super Cups we've had over the past 10 years where it's just been 2 La Liga clubs, Barca versus Sevilla, Sevilla versus Madrid, Madrid versus Atletico, Real Madrid versus Villarreal. We've seen it so many times. We've not seen it with the English team once. I think Chelsea played Bayern, City played, what was it? Porto? Who did they play the Super Cup when Cole Palmer scored when he was at City? Who did they play in that game? Like Porto or
when
something?
City won the UCL.
Yeah, who won the Europa League that year when City won the UCL?
Sevilla? Was that Sevilla?
Maybe.
Villarreal?
Maybe. But my point still stands, right? We've seen Spanish clubs do it so many times. If you do it once, it's not going to be over the top. But if you want to have a little, accomplishment, go nuts.
PSG lose already to Arsenal this season. It's just like the Liverpool tie. Arsenal fans' reasons why they will win is we beat Madrid 5-1. We beat PSG in the group stage. PSG only beat Liverpool on pens. PSG nearly bottled it to Villa. But they don't actually watch the games. I saw someone say Declan Rice is one of the best midfielders in the world, and I told him why, and he said because. And I mentioned a bunch of midfielders. I said Barella, Vitinha, Pedri, all these are better. And he said, "Oh, well, yeah, but he would absolutely outmuscle them in the midfield. They would have no chance." Like,
what the hell
they
does
think it's
outmuscle
rugby or
mean, man?
Yeah, they watch.
Yeah, like
we're people, man. We're people.
Muscle physicality only comes into play when it's fine margin to differentiate a midfield battle.
Yeah, or like if you're parking the bus, then your physicality can help. But I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. Arsenal fans are so shameless. Like they talk like a big club, but they're
this
parking
might
the
be. I
fucking
feel.
bus.
Yeah, I feel this could be the biggest win in your lifetime if you beat Arsenal because of what happened in the first game, the journey up until this point. I feel like over these 2 legs, if you do come out of it, I feel like I'll see videos and because of you saying this might be the best moment I've had as a PSG fan.
It would be like in the sense we've had such a turbulent UCL season and we're gonna go to the final. But if we strictly say about the opponent, Arsenal are not as good as teams we've faced before.
No. For sure. I'm talking about the journey. You lose. Remember what happened in October? You're doing a lot of Arsenal collabs. You got cooked when you lost. Now you have the revenge when it matters the most in the semifinal, killing their hopes. Your team is playing well. You're cooking undefeated league. You won the domestic treble. You're going for the quadruple. So that's what I mean. Like you could be, I think, in your best moment, feeling wise, as a PSG fan.
I do agree. Oof, Mbappe, man, and he's cooked, man. Like pictures up in the stands. This is
his celebration. Yeah, so scripted. Yeah, man. Mbappe, I think he'll cook next season, but I love the fact that he's choking this season.
Yeah, no, I mean it's going to be big seasons now for Mbappe because if they don't win the UCL, everything's going to be blamed on him. Right before he joined, they won 2 UCLs in 3 years. So if they don't win, he's the main culprit.
Yeah, they're already saying that right now. If you look at all the Madrid content creators, they're all saying that now. That we won it last year without Mbappe, not this season. He's the reason why. Again, people the team from last again. Barca and Madrid's teams from last season to this season have not changed that much. We signed Dani Olmo, they signed Mbappe. The rest of the team said the exact same. Yeah. Of course, Endrick, I think, came in for Madrid. Arnagulo's in the second season. We had, of course, our Inigo in the second season. Stuff like that. The team said the exact same, essentially. But, of course, the manager change was the big impact. But, again, it's poor from them. Look how I think they played one of their better games against Bilbao this season because, again, they had a structure. They had a system to rely upon. So when you and I both said he was going to flop in his first season, we're going to be right.
No, and I saw ESPN and a bunch of other stuff say Real Madrid this season without Kylian Mbappe are unbeaten.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. The agenda is building. It's building.
Yeah, no, I don't even have to cook Mbappe anymore. The rest do it for me now. It's great, man.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, big enough week. I mean, I don't think we have anything. We have Nantes now. Then we have Nice. Nice could maybe be a bit tricky, but yeah, we have a calm weekend going into the Arsenal. Mallorca at home. That's a calm game, but then obviously a huge game right before the Inter game, which will have a mental effect of the performance. Well,
Yeah, man. Mallorca's gonna be tough tomorrow, man. Mallorca are they're a top 6 team. They're a good team, but thankfully they do have, I think, 5 of their starting 11 players out, injured or suspended for the game, which would be an advantage. But we struggle against Mallorca.
I didn't know they were that good.
Yeah,
Because
because
they beat you in the first game, right?
no, we beat them 5-1 away, but just because we hit them a lot on the counterattack, we're super critical. But Mallorca are they're a team that their manager was the Osasuna manager for the past 9 years, and he brought Osasuna from like the 3rd division all the way to Super Cup and Copa del Rey final and pushing European spots. He made the big move to Mallorca during the offseason. He's done the same thing with Mallorca. Yacobe Arasate is his name. And they have a very, very good team. Pablo Maffeo on the wing, Mojica left wing back, Morici, again, the target man striker, but thankfully they're all injured and or suspended. I think Pablo Maffeo is just suspended. But they're a tough team. We've had a lot of games against them over the past few years, especially in the Copa del Rey and the Super Cup and stuff like that, where it's been very, very tight. We've gone over the line, but still been very tight. But they're a team that can definitely cause us problem. I'm more worried about that game than I was about Celta, because Celta, they're kind of nice guys, whereas Mallorca are kind of like, hard dogs, where they'll put studs up challenges, they'll try and get in your head and stuff like that. So
yeah, and they were in the Supercopa de España this season. Played Madrid, I think. Maffeo, Vini had that drama.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, since this will be at the Montjuic, though, hopefully it'll be okay.
Okay. Well, 4 games until next episode, and obviously next episode is going to be heavy Champions League for both Barca and Paris Saint-Germain for the first time I think, yeah, but we're not going to play on the same day. So one day to focus on Paris Saint-Germain, one day to focus on FC Barcelona.
Who plays first? You guys play first, right? You play Tuesday when we play Wednesday. Yeah, because I remember. So that means you're gonna know who's gonna be the Champions League final before you play Arsenal in the second leg.
No, because we're gonna finish the game off in the first leg, 5-0.
Oh, we'll see.
Okay,
we'll
see.
No.
But yeah, hopefully everyone has enjoyed this live stream. We'll be live, obviously, once again next Monday on Barca Boys YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. That's been it from my boy PSG and Barca Boy. Hopefully have a great day, and as usual,